Hello there.
What's going on, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down the Book of Boba Fett episode 3, so without further ado, we're going to jump right on into it. It should go without telling, but there are spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. An overall recap and reaction to this overall episode. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings going on about what happened in this overall episode around in the Star Wars community as a whole. Some people think it was just absolutely god-awful and terrible, while others don't mind it so much and actually rather enjoyed the episode. I'm going to be sharing some of my own personal thoughts and opinions towards the end of today's video, along with a few theories for what we're going to be seeing on in the future of this overall series, so make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. The episode starts out with us learning how the overall city of Mos Espa is kind of being separated into these three different quadrants, being ruled by different species in the Star Wars universe. This happened because Bib Fortuna simply isn't as strong as Jabba the Hutt when it comes to his ruling power, so this is what he did instead, and he separated the land of Mos Espa into three different quadrants being ruled by different parties and different Star Wars species. This is something very similar to Crimson Dawn, which I'm also going to be talking about a little later in today's video as well. A villager from Mos Espa comes to see Boba Fett as he complains that his water is being stolen. The villager also says some of his own thoughts and opinions, as well as he speaks for the overall city and most of the civilians that live in Mos Espa on some of their feelings towards Boba Fett, and they say that he simply isn't strong enough to be a leader compared to Jabba the Hutt. It's definitely something rather ballsy to say, and I'm pretty surprised he didn't just throw him into the pit or take him out right there on spot. Anyway, Boba and Fennec and the Gamorrean guards go and inspect the situation as they go on to find a group of kids that are part cyborg. There is a lot of different mixed feelings going on about this group of kids, this biker gang, cyborgs, whatever you want to call them. I like them. I think that they're cool and a nice addition to the overall show, and it's something unique and something different compared to what we've seen in other Star Wars media and content. However, something I 100% agree on is that these guys look like they came right from Coruscant, and they look like they belong on Coruscant, so it's a little strange to find them on a sandy-like planet when they have all these different kind of tech on their body and all this different cybernetics that are put onto their bodies, as well as the overall biker kind of thing going on here as well. It's definitely a little strange, and it doesn't completely help what we saw here at the end of the episode with that little biker chase. That was definitely pretty slow-paced. I'm going to talk about that in just a few. Anyway, Boba Fett, as we now know, is trying to recruit people, so he recruits his biker gang as they are looking for work. These are the guys that are stealing the water because they don't have any work, and the water is super expensive on a sandy planet, Mos Espa. I mean, kind of a given. There isn't a lot of water to go around. And before I forget, the guy that had complained earlier on comes running out, whining and complaining that they still owe him 1,300 credits. Boba pays it off with 500 credits and calls it a day. I don't really know if we're going to be seeing this guy again. I kind of hope we don't, because he's pretty insignificant and doesn't really mean anything unless he's like some sort of secret spy or something like that. Really don't think we're going to be seeing him again. He's the least of concerns. We then, of course, go into some of those flashbacks once again. I absolutely love all these different flashbacks that we have been getting in this overall show. This is something very unique to Star Wars and something as a whole. I feel like this isn't really something you see too frequent in shows and movies and that type of stuff. We go back to Kamino and we see a little bit of a flashback of Jango Fett going off on Kamino. This is, of course, taking place during Attack of the Clones. These Kamino flashbacks, rather, really have me thinking that Boba is still holding on to his dead father now at this point, and the man that had murdered his father, that they're, of course, being Mace Windu, and some sort of reoccurrence with Mace Windu appearing in this overall show. You guys have known, if you guys have been following my channel long enough, you guys have known that this is something I really want to happen, and I've been longing for and theorizing, and I just really want this to happen. I really want to see Boba Fett versus Mace Windu, and the reappearance of Mace Windu once again, I think is very fitting for his overall character, and it would be really, really cool. Of course, there's mixed feelings on keeping Mace Windu dead or bringing him back. It's something I'll probably talk again about in a separate video. We go on to see the Tuscan Raider village once again, and in this scene, Boba is leaving the village here to go see the Pikes in the city of Mos Espa. As he arrives in the city, we see some Jawas putting a few stormtrooper helmets on spears and kind of like hanging them up. This is something directly we see in The Mandalorian Season 1. And it's something that's actually strangely important because it kind of gives us a timeline of where we are in the Star Wars universe. We are now at the end of Return of the Jedi. A very nice little Easter egg I'm glad that they threw in there is that we now see Peli Motto from The Mandalorian Season 1. She watched over Grogu, or Baby Yoda, as he was getting his ship repaired there in the background with her 2 pit droids. Something pretty cool, a nice little callback. Boba goes to meet with the Pikes and to collect a payment of protecting these Pikes and their passage through the Dune Sea here with the Tuscan Raiders, but he unfortunately learned that the Neatco gang has already taken their money, as the Pikes also think that they are giving them a safe passage through the Dune Sea here as well. He refuses to pay Boba because they don't want to be taken advantage. Okay, I guess fair enough. So now we're going to go and see, hopefully Boba beat the crap out of these Neatco gang guys once again here in episode 4, which is something I'm definitely looking forward to. And then, of course, here comes some of that more emotional stuff. Boba returns to the village, and the village has been attacked by the Neatco gang, and everybody at the Tuscan village is all gone. They're all gone. These Tuscan Raiders that have taken care of Boba and saved him and enslaved him at one point in time are all now gone. It's a very emotional scene, and Boba is at a complete loss. It's going to be interesting to see where he's going to be going in these next couple of flashbacks. As I had mentioned, I definitely think we're going to be seeing him go and beat up this Neatco gang that has now attacked his Tuscan family and has also taken their Tuscan money. He goes on to burn all the bodies that they had done in episode 2 when they had first gotten attacked by the Pikes. And it's a nice little callback to Return of the Jedi when Luke Skywalker is burning Anakin Skywalker's body. This is definitely going to be emotionally affecting Boba for sure in these next future episodes here with the flashbacks, and it's definitely going to be interesting and definitely really cool to see him go on a complete rampage and beat the living crap out of all these Neatco guys that have now taken his Tuscan family. And it's definitely going to be really interesting to see where he goes after that, after these flashbacks. Perhaps we'll see him go and rescue Fennec Shand in The Mandalorian Season 1, as I had theorized in a couple videos ago. Boba's in for a rude awakening as he wakes up to Black Krrsantan, the Black Wookiee that we've seen in episode 2. I'm yet to do a video on kind of explaining who this overall character is, although I had already explained it in episode 2 and our breakdown with that. And to kind of give you guys a little recap, this here is a Wookiee bounty hunter essentially, and he worked with Boba at one point, so that's pretty much all you guys really need to know. And now he's here on behalf of the Hutts, and he essentially beats the crap out of Boba Fett in this entire scene, which is really cool, very action-packed, and I absolutely loved it. To be completely honest and fair with you guys, I'll be completely honest, I haven't really read any of the War of the Bounty Hunter comics with Black Krrsantan. I do like to, however, touch up and keep up with this type of stuff, looking at a few lure videos here and there from Star Wars Theory or Star Wars Meg, whoever it may be. And so apparently, according to these people, they say that he is way more powerful and that they actually downtoned him in this overall scene and in the Book of Boba Fett as a whole. He's a whole lot stronger actually, and that he was fairly weak in this scene here, and I think that he was pretty strong, okay? I'll be completely honest with you, and he was furthermore really, really scary with his roars. However, apparently so, he could have taken down the Gamorrean guards as well, completely just like full-on killing them, as well as the biker gang full-on killing them as well, according to some of these people here. I'm not completely sure on how realistic that it completely is, and I'm kind of glad that he didn't necessarily kill all these people, although it would have been really, really badass, to be completely honest with you guys, and probably would have had a much darker tone and theme to this overall show as a whole. But as I had mentioned, absolutely love this overall scene right here, this whole fight scene kind of going on. Definitely a huge highlight for me in this overall episode. One thing I am a little puzzled on, however, is that in this shot right here, we see Boba gets absolutely bodied to the face with a brass and knuckle shocker type of thing going on here, and I'm not really completely sure how that didn't just like knock him out, but it's Boba Fett, he's pretty tough, so yeah, they eventually take him down, throwing him down the Rancor pit and trapping him down there for a little bit. One of the Gamorrean guards that had actually gotten bitten by this evil Wookiee, Boba comes out and says, "Get him to my bacta tank." This just goes to show how loving and caring Boba really is for his overall people. He's more of a family now at this point in time, is something that was kind of being described here by Mokshia, the mayor of the city. It's something else that Fennec kind of describes and tells Boba, is that this is more complicated and you're more of like a godfather at this point in time. You're not really supposed to be doing this stuff. You're more or less supposed to be sending people after other people, much like we see the Hutts do. It's definitely an interesting concept to kind of grasp, especially in the Star Wars universe. But if you guys have ever seen the Godfather films, we never actually see the Godfather attacking people or actually fighting. He's just kind of like sending people after other people, and this is essentially what the crime syndicates are. We get a nice little visit here from the Hutt twins, and they show up here, and they offer Boba Fett a freaking rancor, which is absolutely amazing, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few seconds here. They furthermore go on to say that they don't want any beef with Boba Fett, and something very carefully you must listen to is that they say that there's another crime syndicate in town here, as they are now laying claim to the overall planet of Tatooine and this overall throne of the Jabba the Hutt. Could very well be Crimson Dawn. That's something I'm also going to kind of theorize and go a little more in depth here with a separate video here, but something I want to talk about here with the Rancor is that a little bit of a potential spoilers here for the future here. A couple months ago, we were actually covering this here on the channel, as there were actual plot leaks here for the Book of Boba Fett. People were saying and rumoring around that there would be a scene here where we have Boba Fett riding through Mos Espa, the city, on a Rancor, and this very well could be true, as he furthermore goes on to mention, as he's talking to the Rancor Keeper, that he would like to learn to ride this Rancor. I definitely think that would be really, really badass and really cool to see. Some people even mentioned, could this be like his new way of like a litter, kind of, instead of like riding on a big platform like the Hutts do, could he just ride into the city on a freaking Rancor? I think that'd be really cool. In return, Boba offers back Black Krrsantan back to the Hutts. They say that they don't want him, so he just kind of frees them, says no hard feelings, as they had worked previously together in War of the Bounty Hunters for Darth Vader, which is something pretty cool, so they do have a little bit of a history together. The Rancor Keeper goes on to mention a little bit about the past here with the Clone Wars here, and kind of goes into some specifics in the history with the Rancors. He mentions the Night Sisters of Dathomir, as we do see in Star Wars The Clone Wars, which is a really, really cool callback. Mother Talzin, who's one of the most powerful Force users out there, alongside Palpatine, and is the mother of the one and only Darth Maul, which is a pretty cool callback there as well. Not only that, but we also do hear that the twins, the Hutt twins, are saying that they're going to go back to Mal Hutta, which is pretty much the planet for the Hutts, essentially. While Boba is kind of warming up to his brand new Rancor pet here, he gets a message that the mayor of Mos Espa, Mok Shia, as we had seen in episode 2, is not available for any quote-unquote appointments here for the next couple of weeks. Naturally, Boba, Fennec, and their biker gang go to investigate what's really going on here, and we see that one really annoying dude, the mayor's assistant, actually going out the back door and then fleeing, and this pursues one of the slowest chases in history of anything cinematic, movies, TV shows, whatever the case may be, especially for Star Wars. Not many people were very fond of this overall speeder chase kind of going on here. A lot of people were saying that it was really just overall slow and boring. Why couldn't Boba just use his jetpack, as he was using his jetpack to kind of go along with them this entire time? Why couldn't he just fly over him, shoot him down type of thing? It was really slow and kind of boring, to be honest with you guys. It was kind of funny and a little childish, and kind of brought out some of that Robert Rodriguez Spy Kids type of themes there, which isn't necessarily a horribly bad thing. I feel like some people are kind of over complaining about it. It really wasn't necessarily completely that horrible, although it could have been really a lot better, especially compared to like Star Wars, a Star Wars story here, the Solo movie there, with those speeder chases going on in there, which were really cool. I feel like we could have had like that same kind of tone going on with this. However, it was just a whole lot slower. They then go on to learn that Mok Shia is off planet at this point in time, and that there are now some new people that will be arriving to kind of take over, and this is where this good stuff is going to start coming in here with this overall series. We're getting the Pike Syndicate really taking over Mos Espa and the overall planet of Tatooine, as we are then informed at the end of the episode. We now have all full out war here with the Pike Syndicate and the Nico gang, or whatever might be left of them, especially kind of, you know, towards the end of the flashbacks there, of I kind of like how it's kind of paralleling together and how we're getting these two storylines at the same time here. Okay, so some of my own thoughts and opinions. This was a pretty great episode. It's like up there with episode 1 and episode 2, of course. The only bad part about this overall episode was the overall speeder chase. Felt a little slow for me. Everything else was absolutely amazing in this overall episode, and I feel like it's being overhated. Completely honest opinion. That doesn't just go for this one and only episode. I feel like a lot of people are just not liking and over-hating on these overall series. They're expecting too much coming from Boba Fett and, you know, character appearances and all that type of stuff. Something I did mention at the beginning of the video is Crimson Dawn and them really being behind the one of the Pike invasion here, quote-unquote, of it kind of being an invasion, I guess. I definitely think that would be really cool, especially from the War of the Bounty Hunters series that we got in the comics that we had last year, refeaturing and bringing back Kira and her kind of being the leader of Crimson Dawn. On top of that, War of the Bounty Hunters had also featured Black Chrysanthemum, which that came true, and he is now in live action and in the Book of Boba Fett and plays quite a significant role. On top of that, I think he's going to be reappearing and coming back for later on to actually team up and work with Boba Fett. Just a nice little theory to kind of throw out there. So if he's appearing and had first appeared in War of the Bounty Hunter comics, why couldn't Kira also appear here, not only in the War of the Bounty Hunter comics, but also reappear here in this overall Book of Boba Fett show? I personally definitely think that the evidence is there. We also have the Hutts kind of mentioning that there's another crime syndicate in town that wants to kind of claim the throne of Jabba the Hutt and the overall planet. Something else I definitely hope to see in the second half of this overall series and season, something I'm probably gonna make a separate video on for this, a kind of predictions for the second half of this overall series, it would be to have Boba Fett go off planet in the quote-unquote modern time, the Mandalorian season 2.5, where he's kind of ruling Jabba's palace and all that, or it could also happen in the flashbacks as well. Maybe that could be happening after he goes and rescues Fennec Shand, as we see in the Mandalorian season 1, and then have him kind of go off and follow the Mandalorian to kind of track down his armor here. I think would be another thing that we could see in the second half of this overall season. And lastly, on top of that, a second season or multiple seasons for the Book of Boba Fett, I also think is a very plausible idea to kind of throw out there, kind of given and bearing not the flashbacks, but the modern time that we're in here. There's so much story of going forth with Boba's character that needs to be, I feel like, explained, and it has his own time to shine, not in the Mandalorian season 3 or season 4, or not in the Ahsoka Tano series. Overall, for me, pretty solid episode, 8 out of 10. I've already mentioned, I feel like people just expect too much, and that they need to kind of take it a little more calmly and a little more lightly. They're expecting this complete badass Boba Fett when he's literally just crawled out of the Sarlacc pit and is barely like alive at this point in time. He needs time to recover, and it creates a little bit more of a character development. I'd much rather have this compared to just Boba going around different planets, beating the crap out of people, and then going to the next. And so with that, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below, guys. What did you guys think about the Book of Boba Fett episode 3, and what are you guys thinking about the overall series so far, as we are now just about halfway through? And on top of that, let me know some of your theories and predictions here for the second half of the series as well. I'd absolutely love to hear what you guys all think in the comment section down below. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as it really does help with the channel, and check out Instagram, unofficial Star Wars, and more Star Wars related content, guys. Thanks so much for watching today's video. As always, may the Force be with you. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.